Go out on social media and say, hey, I know you love this category. I know you love my t-shirt so great. We're thinking about launching this great collection of super soft sweatshirts. Give us your feedback. Let us know. Let social media help guide you.
Welcome to Clothing Culture, a fashion industry podcast at the intersection of technology and innovation. I'm Emily Lane.
And I'm Brett Schnittker. We speak with experts and disruptors who are moving the industry forward and discuss solutions to real industry challenges.
Clothing Culture is produced by Stars Design Group, a global design and production house with more than 30 years of experience. Welcome back to another episode of Clothing Culture. Today, we're going to be talking about, as a brand, how do you know you're ready to expand your line? This is something that a lot of our customers come to us trying to decide, what is that right assortment? Is it too broad? Is it too narrow? When is it time to go into a totally new vertical if you're all in women's and now you're going to go into men's? When do you know it's the right time, and how do you know what to expand into? So, Brett, welcome back for this conversation today. How do you know it's time?
It varies a little bit company by company, but a real good, factor is that once you've launched and you have a consumer audience that's actively participating in your brand daily, monthly, very consistently, that's a really good time to look at what other categories you can expand to.
Right. This is part of growing your business.
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
So what makes sense from a product growth standpoint?
Again, varies company by company. Today we live in, a world where companies are launching with the best t-shirt, the best underwear, the best socks, very, very narrow categories, or capsule collections that are 3 to 5 pieces making a statement. And so for companies that are really narrowly defined, the best t-shirt, expanding to a mirroring or a neighboring category like a sweatshirt might make sense. You own them in the t-shirt business, moving into sweatshirt. If you're the best sock company, maybe moving into underwear. If you're underwear, moving into socks. Things like that are related categories. That's a good term. Complementary categories. That makes really good sense.
What about going much bigger? You're already committed to women's wear. You're all across categories in women's wear, but now you're like, is it time to tap into men?
Yeah, certainly a much bigger financial decision. We know that a lot of women buy apparel for their male counterparts. Guys don't typically love to shop in general. They find their favorite stuff and they kind of just rebuy it, rewear it. So if you're in women's category and you expand into men's, there's a high likelihood that the women that are attracted and actively buying your brand, if you have some selective items that you can drop in that are menswear, those women might buy it for their male counterparts. I think that makes a lot of sense. But you have a lot of decisions depending on the category. Some categories, like bottoms, are SKU intensive and depth intensive. So that's a huge investment, and it takes a long time to build loyalty in bottoms. So really understanding the implications of particular categories, the investment, the time, the growth is really important in making those decisions.
This is almost reminiscent of so many conversations we have when you're starting a brand. It's like you've got to be realistic about the budget. You've got to commit to a certain timeline. You've got to have marketing. All these things need to be well thought out.
Yeah.
It's almost like starting a new business when you're expanding in such a way. What are some common mistakes?
Overexpansion too soon, too much inventory, not enough demand, not recognizing your market well enough, not understanding your consumer. Your consumer might be coming to you for a particular category and be really happy with that, but another category, they have another favorite. And so if you expand into it, you might be disappointed, that consumer isn't following you to every category. You've got to do a lot of consumer research. Good focus groups of your consumer base makes sense. Today, brands are actively conversing with clients via social media. So, in times past, we were dictating to consumers what we think they should be wearing. Today, it's more of a conversation. And so that provides an opportunity to reduce risk as you're expanding categories. Go out on social media and say, hey, I know you love this category. I know you love my t-shirt so great. We're thinking about launching this great collection of super soft sweatshirts. Give us your feedback. Let us know. Let social media help guide you. Let consumer feedback guide you. I think today that's a real amazing opportunity that we haven't had in the past.
I imagine having the right expertise in place is really critical as well. I mean, just because you're really good at one area of development doesn't mean you have the resources or expertise in place for a new. We've seen companies in the past that were very, very skilled at designing menswear, and then all of a sudden try going into women's wear and just it doesn't succeed because the team that's in place really has had that core focus in that one category. Do you have some advice for people in making sure that they're aligning with the right team to help you with that expansion?
Well, making those decisions wrongly affects brand equity in a big way.
Yeah.
Consumer loyalty is only as good as consistent, elevated, great quality, on target to your customer product. And so, expanding must be thought out methodically for sure.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with your statement that you've just got to make sure that you've got the not only the team in place, but the resources in place to execute that expansion well.
And to brand, right?
And to brand it for sure.
Yeah.
But, if you have a certain product that customers have come to you and trust you in, expanding to a different category that you might not have as much experience in and failing to do it well calls into question a whole bunch of things. So it's important that you're very, very cautious and you're sure about that rollout.
How do you make sure to preserve the strength of your core product? So, you're making an expansion, you're dedicating new resources, it's the new shiny object. How do you make sure that you're staying true to your core business?
Not ignoring it, making sure that you are still servicing that customer, you're still dialoguing about that core product. A lot about core product is not only once you've established your consumer in that core product and they trust you in that product, they like that product, making sure that you have inventory in that product is super, super important. Making sure that you're continuing to tell that story, making sure that as color trend shifts, you're changing colors in that product. Making sure that product doesn't become stale is really important.
Oh, that's all really good advice.
Core product of our business can make up 40 to 60% of a successful brand, even a fashion brand.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
right. Yeah. And as you mentioned, sometimes it is the entire brand.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing a lot more of that.
A lot
today.
of brands get really excited about the shiny objects, the little fashion and fad items, and they start to ignore the importance of core product. And we've seen challenges where they run out of inventory, they run out of sizes because they're chasing kind of these fashion items, and customers start to lose confidence and they start looking elsewhere if they can't get that product. So making sure you have adequate inventory levels in all sizes, in key core colors is really, really important.
Yeah, I love this. You've said in the past one of your famous phrases, Brett, is you either overbuy or underbuy. You never buy
the right amount, ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we advise clients, we talk about the importance of in your core product, that's where you go deeper because you only have more weeks of supply if you have a couple of slow weeks.
Yeah.
So that
slow sellers, slow colors, it's just more weeks of supply. You're not really forced to mark down core product if it's all season, all year round.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I think that does it for today. See you later. No. Do you have any other final thoughts?
No.
Okay, so we really are ready to wrap this one up. Okay, well, thanks for that. If you have any questions about good assortment planning, you're thinking about expanding your line into additional styles, new collections, and need some help navigating that, feel free to reach on out. That's what we're here for. And do not forget to subscribe to stay apprised of upcoming episodes of Clothing Culture.